Chapter 14 continued. We're on page 99, about halfway through, right here. The holographic projector restarted and a small woman walked to the center of the arena. She almost whispered to the crowd, but the projector magnified her voice so all could hear. My name is Lero. This is my first time in the ability trials. It is an honor to be here. I will be giving a small telekinesis demonstration. Please do not be frightened. She cleared her throat and was silent. Why would I possibly be frightened of her? Andy said. Let's just watch and see, Iva replied. What do you think she's going to move? Heidi asked. Can't you read her mind? Benjamin asked. No, there's a lot of crowd interference and she has it mostly blocked off, Heidi replied. I think the better performers can shield their minds pretty well to avoid losing their concentration. Lero held her place in the center of the arena. She took several deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling slowly. She closed her eyes and raised her arms up above her head. All at once, every muscle in her arms tightened, her fingers outstretched toward the sky. The wind began to howl. People's hair began to whip around. The sky slowly started to darken. I don't believe it, Jack said as his little eyes grew triple size. Nobody has ever tried this before. Is she trying to change the weather? Heidi asked, shouting to be heard over the whipping wind. No, Jack replied. I think that's only a side effect. Look at that. He pointed straight upward. I don't believe it, Andy said. The sky is collapsing. It looked exactly like that. Where before there had been a beautiful light blue sky, a midnight blue blanket now pressed downward. It's not the sky, Jack said. It's the dome. She's collapsing the dome down on us. He had to yell now to be heard over the wind and the crowd. The dome continued on its downward course, collapsing like a giant hand pressed down on it from the outside. Just as the point of the dome depression reached the top of the arena, it stopped. Here it held for a moment. Then, at the same speed as its descent, it began to climb back up. That must be some dome to be able to withstand that kind of structural displacement, Gary said. Yeah, and I was beginning to think nothing could surprise me, Jack said. The sky returned to its full brightness, and Lero lowered her arms and walked off the arena floor with her head down amid a mass of cheering. The acts continued. Funny, scary, boring. The ability trials had it all. As the sun moved farther across the sky, the final performer in the summer solstice trials came onto the stage. And now, the two-headed telecaster said with one of his hands, the man of the hour, the 10-time unofficial winner of the trials, the other head said. A hush fell over the crowd. It is with my greatest pleasure that I introduce to you, the first head said. Andreas Matthias, the second head said. The hush that had fallen over the crowd exploded into cheering. He always has something edgy planned. Jack leaned over and whispered in Benjamin's ear. Andreas Matthias walked to the center of the arena, and again the crowd quieted down. Whispers broke out in the crowd as Andreas Matthias simply stood on the stage, watching the audience, not saying a word. He stood there for a full 3 minutes doing nothing. Not much edgy about that, Benjamin thought. And then everything around Benjamin disappeared. The world became a dullish gray. The sounds of the crowd vanished. He was no longer with his friends at the trials. He was in a hallway near a closed door with a light emitting from the bottom. Benjamin felt weightless, like he was being carried. He turned his head away from the door and saw an enormous man approaching, just a silhouette, but there was something familiar about it. Quickly he turned his face back to the door as he heard a sound, sobbing. There was someone behind the door crying. A woman. Something deep inside Benjamin ached as he heard the sound. He longed to go through the door, to be with the crying woman. I came as fast as I could, the silhouetted man said, distracting Benjamin from the crying. Benjamin turned toward the man, away from the door. And then, without warning, Benjamin was back at the trials, in his seat, his friends around him. Their faces mirrored what Benjamin was sure his own looked like. What was that? It took about half a minute, but resounding applause finally did break out. Benjamin realized that the entire episode must have been some sort of mind control trick. How could one person control the minds of the entire crowd at the same time? He noticed Andy and Gary had joined in with the crowd, clapping as hard as their hands would let them. But Benjamin didn't feel like clapping, and noticed Iva didn't either. And Heidi just looked angry, really angry. All Benjamin felt was sick to his stomach, like there was an empty hole there now and nothing to fill it. What did it mean? Was it a vision of the future? The past? A dream? And who was the woman who had been crying?